What if the universe has already sent you the confirmation you've been desperately seeking, but you simply haven't learned the language it's speaking? You've felt the pull, that undeniable soul-deep ache for a connection that defies all logic and reason. You've scanned the heavens for signs, deciphered number sequences until your eyes crossed, and felt your heart leap at every song that reminds you of them. But what comes after the signs? What happens when the universe shifts from sending you vague postcards to inviting you into a full, immersive, conversational reality? This is the sacred threshold you now stand upon. The longing in your heart is not a punishment. It is a homing device, and it has been activated. The silence you sometimes feel isn't abandonment. It is the universe holding its breath, waiting for you to finally understand that you are not a beggar pleading for crumbs of evidence, but a powerful co-creator being prepared for a miracle. The whispers are about to become a coherent narrative, and the chaotic notes of your journey are about to arrange themselves into a symphony so precise, so personally crafted for your soul, that you will finally stop asking if it's real and start wondering how you ever doubted it. This isn't about waiting for a person. It's about becoming the person for whom the reunion is not just a dream, but a divine and inevitable conclusion. The universe isn't just pointing you toward a destination, it's teaching you to recognize the landmarks of a journey you are already mastering. And the first, most profound lesson is learning to listen, not with your ears, but with your entire being. Are you ready to understand what it's truly saying? You know the feeling, don't you? That little jolt when you see 11:11 on the clock. A flicker of hope when a feather drifts across your path. For so long, we've been trained to see these as little winks from the cosmos, a spiritual Morse code that simply says, "I'm here, keep going," and that's beautiful. It truly is. But what I want to talk to you about today is what happens after the wink. What happens when the universe, satisfied that you're finally paying attention, puts down the flashcards and picks up the conductor's baton? This is where the real magic begins. This is where you move from reading single, scattered words to understanding the full, breathtaking story being written just for you. Let's be honest, the initial stages of this journey can feel chaotic. It's like being in a room where 100 radios are playing different stations at once. A number here, a song snippet there, a random mention of their name in a conversation you're eavesdropping on. It's exciting, but it's noise. The profound shift, the event that truly confirms you're on the cusp of something monumental, is when someone or something walks in and tunes every single one of those radios to the same frequency, and they begin to play a symphony so coherent, so personally tailored to the nuances of your heart that you can no longer dismiss it as coincidence. Coincidence is a beggar's explanation for a king's feast. You are being invited to sit at the table. Think of it this way. Early on, you get a single puzzle piece, a blue shard. It's pretty. You hold on to it. Then you get another, this one with a hint of a cloud. Nice. Then another with a fragment of a wing. And for months, years maybe, you're just collecting these beautiful, disconnected fragments. The confirming event is the moment the universe slides the connecting pieces into your hands. Suddenly, you see how the blue shard is part of the heron's feather you saw this morning, and the cloud is from the painting you both loved in that gallery a lifetime ago. And the wing belongs to the same species of butterfly that just landed on your windowsill as you were reading this. The picture doesn't just appear, it unfolds with a terrifying, glorious clarity. The universe stops giving you hints and starts giving you directions. Turn left here, read this book, call this friend, forgive this memory. It becomes a dialogue, a true two-way conversation. You have a thought, a question, a moment of despair. Show me a fox, just show me a fox if I'm on the right path. You half joke in a moment of spiritual frustration. And later that day, your nephew runs in wearing a fox costume for a play you knew nothing about. The barista hands you a latte with a fox drawn in the foam, and the next YouTube video that autoplays is a documentary on Arctic foxes. And you sit there, not in awe, but in a kind of quiet, humbled knowing. The universe has a sense of humor, and it's laughing with you, delighted that you're finally playing the game. This is no longer about faith. It's about physics. It's the law of attraction graduating from a theoretical concept to your lived daily reality. This is where the path gets deeply personal and almost comically specific. It's not just about seeing your twins' birthday numbers anymore. It's about thinking of that private joke you shared about a ridiculous 80s B-movie villain, and then walking into a coffee shop where the barista's name tag reads Biff, and the song playing is the one from the movie's end credits. The universe is showing you it knows your inside jokes. It's referencing the footnotes of your shared story. This is intimacy on a cosmic scale. It's the divine saying, I wasn't just present for the big, dramatic moments. I was there in the quiet, silly, human ones too, and I remember. So, what's the big deal? The big deal is that this coherent narrative is the universe's way of proving that your twin flame journey is not a solitary one. You are not a lone actor on a dark stage, shouting into the void, hoping for an echo. You are a key player in a living, breathing, responsive universe that is choreographing a dance of immense complexity, all for the purpose of bringing two halves of the same soul back into alignment. The synchronicities are the stage directions, the set changes, the lighting cues. When you start to see the narrative, you realize you are not lost. You are precisely on script, the most beautiful, unpredictable, and perfect script ever written. And the most thrilling part? This is just the beginning of the conversation. Once you understand the language, you can start to speak back, and that's when we step into the true alchemy of the journey, a place where your deepest wounds don't haunt you, but that, my dear soul, is a story for another moment. Let's just say the plot is about to thicken in the most miraculous way. Let's talk about the shadows, not the casual annoyances or the bad days, but the real stuff, the ancient echoing chambers of your heart where the ghosts of old betrayals, abandonments, and feelings of unworthiness still hold their silent vigils. You know the ones I mean. The ones your twin flame, in their divine and utterly inconvenient perfection, somehow always manages to tap dance on with spiked boots. We spend so much of this journey trying to heal these wounds, don't we? We patch them with affirmations, we smudge them with sewage, we bury them under layers of spiritual bypassing, pretending we're too evolved to feel that old sting. But what if I told you that the universe's most profound confirmation of reunion isn't the final neat scar tissue over that wound? What if it's the moment the wound itself, that ancient, tender, throbbing part of you, suddenly and miraculously becomes the very source of your power? This isn't about healing in the way we think of it. It's about alchemy, the transmutation of leaden pain into golden awareness. Think of it like this. For years, that core wound, let's call it the abandonment file or the not good enough dossier, has been a landmine buried in the field of your soul. Your twin flame, just by existing as your perfect mirror, has a GPS signal straight to it. They trigger it. You explode. The separation pain is excruciating because it feels like a confirmation of the very story the wound has been telling you all along. See, you will be left. You are too much. It's a brutal, repetitive loop. But then, something shifts. It's not that the landmine is carefully disarmed and removed. No, that would be too simple, and the universe is an artist, not a bomb squad. The miraculous event is when you walk across that same field, feel the familiar pressure plate click beneath your foot, and instead of an explosion, there is a bloom. The energy of the trigger doesn't detonate outward in blame and pain. It implodes inward in a silent, spectacular moment of understanding. The charge is neutralized not by removal, but by integration. This is the event of trigger transcendence. It's not that you no longer feel the trigger. It's that your relationship to the feeling has been utterly revolutionized. It's the difference between being a leaf tossed in a hurricane and being the quiet, still eye of the storm, watching the winds rage around you with a sense of compassionate, detached awe. Your boss says the very thing your father used to say that made you feel small. The old you would have flash frozen or erupted into flames. The classic fight or flight, the trauma response your twin so expertly ignited. But the new you, the you who is ready for reunion, you feel the familiar heat rise, the old neural pathway lighting up like a Christmas tree, and you simply watch it. You don't attach, you don't identify, you don't spiral. You might even, and this is the wild part, feel a wave of gratitude for the clarity. The trigger is no longer a button that controls you. It's a diagnostic tool, showing you a part of your internal landscape that has now been fully claimed and understood. How does this feel in real life? It's the moment you see a photo of your twin flame with someone else, and instead of the gut-wrenching, identity-shattering jealousy that would have once sent you to bed for a week, you feel a gentle pang of human sadness that quickly settles into a profound, unshakable knowing of your own worth. The story the wound used to tell, I am replaceable, has lost its narrator. The stage is empty. The silence that remains is your sovereignty. This is the universe's final exam for that particular karmic subject. It presents you with the perfect tailor-made scenario to test your mastery, and you pass not by acing the test, but by realizing you're no longer a student in that classroom. You've graduated. The lesson is complete. This is the sacred alchemy. You are no longer a victim of your pain. You are the curator of your museum of past selves. You can look at the exhibit for the one who was left with a tender heart, but you don't live there anymore. The energy that was once locked in that trauma, all that power, that emotional intensity, is suddenly returned to you. It's like getting a massive tax refund from the universe on all the suffering you've ever paid in. This reclaimed life force is what makes you magnetic, whole, and truly ready for a union that is based on choice, not desperate need. And the most beautiful, almost humorous part of this entire divine setup. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, often makes the final, culminating test so comically similar to the original wound that you can't help but laugh at the perfection of it all. It's the cosmic punchline. You realize the separation was never a punishment. It was the most loving, brutal, and perfectly designed curriculum imaginable, all to lead you back to the one person you could never truly lose, your own whole, healed, and hilarious self. And just between us, when you finally stand in that space of unshakable self-possession, you'll sense a curious stillness on the other end of the connection, a quiet recognition that the storm has passed, and the bridge between you is now being rebuilt, not from a place of lack, but from a place of unimagined abundance. But what that bridge is made of, now, that is the most fascinating story of all. So here you are, after all the searching, the longing, the nights staring at the ceiling, asking the universe for a sign, any sign. You've arrived at a place the maps never showed. It wasn't a destination you could have rushed toward, no matter how fast you ran. It was a frequency you had to learn to emit, a quiet song you had to remember how to hum. And in learning that tune, something miraculous has happened. You've stopped looking for the path and have, without even realizing it, become the path itself. The reunion you've been seeking with every fiber of your being. It was never a point on a timeline. It was the gradual, glorious process of your own soul coming into such perfect alignment that the very concept of separation becomes a linguistic ghost, a word without weight or meaning. Think of it not as reaching a finish line, but as finally understanding the game. You spent so long trying to read the player's manual, frantic to learn the rules, when all along you were being invited to help write them. The synchronized universe, the alchemized wounds, these weren't just confirmations for the reunion. They were the very substance of it, being woven into the fabric of your being in real time. This journey was never about finding your missing half to feel complete. That's a beautiful fairy tale, but your story is a sacred epic. It's about two complete sovereign beings choosing each other from a place of overflowing abundance, not desperate need. The magnetic pull you feel now isn't a frantic tug from a void. It's the harmonious resonance between two powerful, self-contained stars, deciding to create a new constellation together. Let me leave you with this final gentle image. You know how, sometimes, after a long period of rain, the sun breaks through and the world doesn't just dry off. It seems to glow from within. Every droplet on a spider's web becomes a prism. The steam rising from the warm pavement shimmers with a fleeting magic. That is you now. The storm of your healing hasn't just passed. It has saturated you with a new kind of light. You carry the prism within you. The reunion, then, is simply the moment when another beam of that same exact light recognizes its counterpart in the world and says, "Ah, there you are. I've been looking for myself everywhere." This is your quiet victory, not a dramatic, cinematic embrace, though that may well come, but a profound, unshakable inner knowing that the work has woven its way into your bones. The anxiety has been replaced by a patient curiosity. The need has been transformed into a joyful anticipation. You are no longer a seeker chasing a ghost. You are a creator, standing in your own center. And from this place, you can build anything. You can build a future. You can build a love that is not a cage, but a sky. And the most beautiful part of all this, the story is just beginning to get interesting. Now that you're no longer lost in the woods, you get to decide what to build in the clearing. But what do you do when that long-awaited moment finally arrives and the universe, with a wink, hands you the first brick? Well, that's a conversation for another day, and one I have a feeling you're more than ready to have.